All right, the success cycle. What is the success cycle? Well, there's a formula for everything. Anything you want to do has a formula to it, which means there is a pattern that's been already created to produce a certain result. If you want to become a doctor, you have to go to school for this amount of time, take this kind of course, get that kind of training, and you get this kind of degree. You want to become a plumber, you have to do a certain thing. If you want to become a technician, if you want to become an internet marketer, if you want to start a business, there's a formula for starting a business. Whether it's brick and mortar or if it's online, there is a formula for everything. You want to become the best athlete you could possibly become, there is a formula. It starts with working out, eating right. So success has a formula. This is called the success cycle. And if you follow the success cycle and understand the success cycle, more likely you will then embody success. And so let's talk about this thing. There are many ways to get to an end point. But if you want to sustain yourself, you need to build a foundation. And that's why the first machine, the biggest machine, is faith. You see, faith is the foundation of everything. See, without faith, you're putting all your belief in yourself or in man or in machines. And all of those things die, rot, mold, fall to pieces. They do not last. But faith lasts forever. Faith is unbreakable. Doesn't mold, doesn't rot, doesn't rust. As a matter of fact, faith becomes the foundation that sustains a person through their trials and tribulations. Faith, the definition of faith is the evidence of things hoped for but not seen. Right? And so what that means is the evidence of things hoped for but not seen. Evidence is something that is already proven, and hope, obviously, is something inside of you, and you've already obtained it. So it's the evidence of things hoped for but not seen, which means that it's already evident, it's apparent in your life. Although you cannot touch it tangibly, you can touch it spiritually. And trust me, I rather touch things spiritually than tangibly because, like I said, everything tangible dies, ends, comes to a conclusion. And so that's why we must make sure that our faith is strong. Because if we have massive faith produces massive belief. Because your belief comes from your faith. You don't believe if you don't have faith. Right? What do you believe in? It has to be something. Even if you haven't recognized it, you have faith in something. So that massive faith produces massive belief, which is big because if you believe, that means you will withstand. Because if you believe in something, like I believe in this mission for Camp Fit. So if I get 35 grants turned down to me, if I get 45 people that tell me this business is horrible and I won't make it, if I get 17 networks that turn me away, I'm still going to press forward because I believe. I believe what I'm doing. I believe I'm here for a purpose and a reason in this season. And I have faith that God will sustain me. See how that works? So massive faith produces massive belief, which then turns around and produces massive potential. You see, because your potential is birthed from your belief. So if you believe strongly, you have strong potential. And then what happens is, the more potential you produce, wow, all of a sudden, you start to see massive action. You see, because the guy who believes in himself, he works out on the basketball court and he puts everything he has into it. His potential is now increasing just because of his belief. And once his potential increases, his action increases because his action comes from his potential. Once he believes he has all his potential and it continues to grow, his action begins to grow, which then inevitably produces massive results. You see how this works? Massive faith then produces massive belief, which turns into massive potential, which gives birth to massive action, which produces massive results. And what do you think happens to your faith once you have massive results? Your faith increases because now you see the fruit of your labor, right? Now you can eat the fruit that you have produced from starting with the faith that you had from the beginning. Unbelievable. And so it just feeds itself. The machine feeds itself. It regenerates. It continues to produce massively. And so, what do you think is important to do? Make sure your faith machine is working. So how do we get the, oh, this is great. Fantastic. I love the model, Rob. Well, how do we get the faith to be massive? How do we start off with massive faith? Well, first of all, the Bible is a good place, okay? A second thing to do is get around people who are faithful, right? Get around believers. Get around people who have a strong belief and a strong faith system. Positive people, inspiring people. Read motivating books and read motivating content. Surround yourself with inspiring movies and activities and anything you can get your spirit around that's going to encourage you. It's going to increase your faith. One of the biggest things you can do is give. Yeah, giving has a tremendous way. It's pretty interesting how giving can actually produce the most receiving, right? Because when you give, something happens. When you give, there's something that happens organically, and you actually increase in faith. And so the more you increase your faith, the more you increase your belief, the stronger your belief gets. And when you have a strong belief system, potential comes out of that. It grows. And the more potential you have, it gives birth to the action, right? And your action produces the results. This, my friends, is the success cycle. Faith, belief, potential, action, results. Turn on the faith. Turn on the faith.